Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So listen, HederaCon just commenced, and this was one of the most exciting events around the Hedera space, but also the entire crypto space. I mean, let's just be honest here. There was a lot of great discussions. There's a lot of great, focus put on, the big things that actually matter around this space. And, I think that we got a little bit of a glimpse into what's happening right now around Hedera and why, when we really think about how big Hedera will be, they are at the top of that food chain. They are a blue chip player in this space. They are a giant around the utility side. And this is something that I've always been very focused on this channel. I get that we talk about price action quite a bit, and I understand that everyone loves the price action talk because, even when the market is doing bad, it's the only thing that people want to talk about in the comments, right? Oh, HBAR is down. It's doing absolutely nothing. It's, terrible. It's a rug pull. It's this, it's that. And, although, yeah, it's, price action is very important. I do think that it's also very important to have a little bit of a, long-term outlook on this space as well, because, in 5 years from now, HBAR could be $5. HBAR could be $10. We don't know how, valuable these projects are going to be, but we do have a glimpse into how big this entire space will be, which also does reflect the blue chips, the top dogs, right? Which Hedera definitely is one of those top projects. Now, again, looking at HederaCon, we could see that Hedera is paving a way for not only the multi-chain future to become a reality, but they're also working with some of the biggest names alongside them. Like, for an example, Cardano, which let's actually dive on into that and let's actually talk about a few things. Number one was one of the most anticipated sessions at HederaCon just wrapped up, which was DLT Pioneers in Conversation, Charles Hoskinson with Lehman Baird. Dr. Lehman Baird, the co-founder of Hedera and Hashgraph, and of course Charles Hoskinson, founder of Cardano, discussed collaboration over maximalism, crypto's evolution, and the future of decentralized recovery. Now, the question that was asked here was actually from IOV Owl of how do you get to mass adoption? Now, Lehman responded saying, you do it by making the user interface very easy and ideally invisible. Now, I have a different outlook on how we get to mass adoption. It definitely is that, right? Like, we definitely look at that as a big piece, but I think that they already solved it. Let's go over here. Dr. Lehman Baird commenting on Decentralized Recovery Alliance, the DREC Alliance. Big shout out to Subjective Views for this video, launched in January of 2024. It's a group of blockchain organizations, including Algorand, Cardano, Hedera, Ripple, and others working to simplify and secure digital asset recovery in Web3. Check it out.
DREC is post-quantum. The design is to use ML-Chem as the initial connection and then use AES 256 GCM for everything else. And so it doesn't matter what those are. What's important is that it's post-quantum, which is important. But the more important thing is the real thing is how do you get mass adoption? You do it by making the user interface very easy and ideally even invisible. So we have people in the DREC Alliance that are saying, we're going to work with banks and credit unions. We're just going to set it up so that when you create an account, your ordinary app that's talking to the bank that has your bank balance, your dollars bank balance, also has your crypto balance and your tokens. It just looks like it's all one thing. And how about DREC? We'll set you up with DREC automatically, invisibly, without you even knowing about it, with 3 helpers. Now, if you're an expert, you can go into the menu and you can add more helpers. You can add your friends and families. You could add services that charge you for it. If you're an expert, you can get further security, and you can even remove those original 3 after you've added the others. If you're an expert, we give you the power to do all that. But for the other 7.9 billion people, it's invisible, it's automatic, you don't even think about it until you lose your keys. And then you learn how you do have a safety net that you didn't even know was there, but you assumed was there. And so I think all across the board, the most important thing here, after having one standard, not a million of them, is to make the user experience super easy. And the best experience is the one where you don't even know you're experiencing it. That's the key.
And yeah, this is 100% the key. Because if we really are going to achieve mass adoption, we need to have these ways to recover, our money. Because at the end of the day, we hear all of these horror stories about how somebody has a wallet that has, $100 million in it, or, $50 million in it, and it's completely lost because they lost the recovery key. So, having these organizations, which I would argue these are the blue chips, right? Algorand, Cardano, Hedera, Ripple. You have a lot of other great players on there as well. Having them come together to actually build something like this, it is so crucial. It's a crucial piece for the space. Now, on top of this, right, this was just one of those key discussions. We also had this discussion, which is it's a good time to be in crypto. So even though we have this turmoil in the space, we have this, very big red, sort of last 2 months or so, we have all these big headline articles about Bybit getting hacked and this and that. It's still a good time to be in crypto. So check it out.
Well, actually, it's never been a better time to be in the industry. So there's kind of like three things happening all at once, and very concisely and briefly. First, on the regulatory side, we actually have the U.S. government being a good party in trying to get things along. So there's a bicameral working group with the Senate Congress. There's a crypto czar. There's an all-of-government approach. We will see legislation very quickly for stablecoins and for asset classification. So that's the first thing that's awesome because it merges the TradFi and Web3 world together. We can actually get them to be one family. Second, the technology has been remarkable. You have a lot of wonderful projects like Hashgraph, Cardano, Algorand, others that have evolved to a point where they're actually able to service what the vision has been. And that takes quite a bit of time to kind of work your way through, but we're there. And third, we now have bridges for retail adoption that are going to work their way into Microsoft and Google and Apple and these other devices. So when they flip a switch, suddenly it's in Android and it's in iOS and it's in Windows. You have billions of consumers that are going to be allowed to come into the industry. So it's a good time to be in crypto.
And yeah, I mean, listen, this is an incredible time to be in crypto, regardless of what, you hear and what you believe. Think about what's happening. Legislation is now being passed to completely greenlight this technology in the US. We're starting to see the biggest institutions now talking about this technology and how they want to utilize it. I mean, even at this event, right, we saw Swift there. Guys, Swift was talking at HederaCon, and they are even talking about utilizing this tech, trialing this tech, and then launching with this tech. Guys, this is not some small name. This is Swift. 11,000 banks, major players processing trillions of dollars in transactions every single day. They are now here talking to you about the tech. Shout out to Degnum PI for this. Listen closely to this.
If we can provide a way that they can integrate maybe with an aggregator or some other way, then that would make it cheaper for them and make it more straightforward for the entire industry. So this is really where we're looking. We've done a lot of POCs, kind of live trials, to understand where the different pressure points are and where the frictions are and how they can be addressed.
Yeah. And 2025, you've got a lot of live trials coming up, because we were talking
Absolutely.
to your team just last week, and some amazing stuff coming up.
If we can
And again, remember, right? Like when we think about this current market, everyone is extremely bearish. Everyone is looking at these prices and they're saying, oh, crypto's a big scam. I don't even want to touch crypto anymore. Guys, think about the biggest names out there like Swift telling you what they're doing. They're trialing here. They're talking about tokenization. They're talking about, bringing this tech to every single bank out there, which will connect to every single major bank account. Everyone will be interconnected through this tech. This is how we achieve mass adoption. When we think about mass adoption, it's through players like Swift. Even let's go back over here, right? You do it by making the user interface very easy and ideally invisible. When we think about that, right, if Swift starts to push this tech, if any big player starts to push this tech, we look at, even enterprises. Guess what? The actual overall interface is it's the same. They don't even need to change the interface. Right? Like they're already tapped into their banking app or whatever app they're using for, finance, for payments, whatever. They just see the benefits of the tech. This is how we get to mass adoption, through these big players like this. Now, on top of this, there was additional, use cases being talked about at HederaCon. The maturity of DLT, stablecoins, and instant banking rails is laying the foundation to make global cross-border payments cost-effective and instant and accessible to everyone. And again, this was with Swift, Drop, WorldPay, and Australian Payments Plus. Guys, WorldPay and Australian Payments Plus, along with Swift, are three of the biggest names out there right now. You need to focus on these three players. When we think about what's going on here, the future of finance is becoming a reality. And the blue chip players are already, providing you an insight on how successful they will be. Hedera is one of those big successful players. I truly do believe that Hedera is going to be an absolute giant in the coming years. In fact, they're already a giant. Like, I would argue that Hedera is in a completely different league of its own. And I've always said this. I've said it multiple times. And all of the moves that they have made over the last couple, months show us how they have evolved, how they are changing, and how much they are being adopted. I cannot stress to you how important it is, even during the red days in this space, to focus on what matters. And right now, we are seeing the biggest players around TradFi telling you what's happening. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. And while they are telling us this, most people are still completely oblivious to what's going on, even though they are still in this space every single day, which I find crazy. And on top of this, DeFi. We saw some very big DeFi discussions at HederaCon as well, with names like Bonzo, for an example, Builder Labs, Chainlink as well. And there was actually a big partnership that got announced, which was, of course, the Bonzo integration with Chainlink data feeds, which will help bring more liquidity to the Hedera DeFi ecosystem as they execute on their 2025 growth strategy. Here we actually have the announcement from Chainlink. Bonzo, the largest lending protocol on Hedera, has integrated the Chainlink standard for verifiable data, starting with price feeds for HBAR and USDC. And if we actually look at this, we could see the full breakdown. Now the advantages here in general are high quality data. So we are now going to see the high quality data being achieved for all of the big players within the DeFi side of things around Bonzo, secure node operators as well, and decentralized network. Of course, Chainlink price feeds are decentralized at the data source, Oracle node, and even the Oracle network levels, and transparency, of course. Now, we actually see a few quotes here. Number one is security and availability is paramount in DeFi, which is why Bonzo Finance chose to integrate the Chainlink standard for verifiable data on Hedera. Chainlink price feeds enable highly secure markets for HBAR and USDC and support adoption and liquidity goals for the Bonzo Finance protocol. Then at the bottom here, we're pleased to see Bonzo Finance integrate Chainlink price feeds to support secure lending markets and accelerate the adoption of DeFi. Highly accurate, reliable, and decentralized market data will help Bonzo Finance attract liquidity and grow the Hedera ecosystem. We're excited to see Bonzo Finance integrate the Chainlink standard for verifiable data on Hedera, which will help us bring liquidity to the rapidly expanding DeFi ecosystem as we execute on our 2025 growth strategy. I'm actually very excited about this. I think that this is going to be a game changer, and it's going to also put Hedera's DeFi space on the map. I do think that the DeFi market is poised for significant adoption and growth. Right now, we're sitting at about $115.3 billion in market cap. I would not be surprised to see the DeFi space be one of the first categories to really kind of hit that $1 trillion mark because of just how big the DeFi world is becoming. Institutional DeFi initiatives are now becoming a big reality as well. It's a big focus from my point of view. I think that's going to be one of the most important pieces of the overall crypto adoption puzzle. But it's also going to be a huge game changer for the value of these networks as well. So at the end of the day, HederaCon was a massive success. We saw some very big updates, and I do believe that Hedera is going to be much bigger than what anyone really kind of lets on. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord on the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.